Starting off with a public service announcement, I want to direct your attention to 3 very useful resources to basically prep you for everything related to resonances. This first spreadsheet here goes over the resonance materials required to level up the resonance sets of every single character, 6-star character in the game from levels 2 all the way through 15. And actually, they organize it based on the stars. So on the top here are the 6 stars, then it goes down to the 5 stars, the 4 stars. So very useful guide here. Just a quick checklist to allow you to pre-farm for upcoming event characters like 6. So if you want to start pre-farming for 6, you can actually start collecting materials to get him to res 10 as soon as he's released. So this is one useful resource. The second useful resource, which I think most of you will know about, is the Prydwen Insight Materials cheat sheet. So basically, it goes over for each insight material the optimal stages to farm for the primary material, as well as listing the secondary material and the percentage rate for each one of these drops, as well as how much stamina. Sorry, I just woke up, my nose is itchy. So very useful resource. I will link that in the description below. And then finally, probably one of my favorites is a resonance guide designed by 2 different people, Sleepi and Yumedere. They're really helping out a lot of people. Basically what you do is, let's say you want to design the optimal resonance puzzles for necrologists, then basically, you know, if you have her at resonance 5 or 6, these are 2 different choices. It'll give you like up to 4 different choices for how to build your necrologist. For instance, at resonance 10, do you want maximum damage output, or do you want maximum healing? Do you want her to be more a crit build, or do you want her to survive better? So also very useful resource. So now that we have this out of the way, let's begin with the bulk of the video. Next, I want to go over some tips for building your resonance. Even though the spreadsheets that I showed you earlier are very convenient, however, sometimes they are not optimal and sometimes not even practical. For instance, actually, I'll go ahead and give you an example. For the Shemaine builds that they suggested 2 different builds. I'm referring to the Sleepi and Yumedere resonance spreadsheets. They offered the attack resonance, which I think is good, and they offered a crit resonance, which I thought was beautifully designed. Definitely you have excellent crit rate, 35% crit rate. That's amazing, right? But the problem was that when I went with the crit build first, I noticed that my Shemaine was taking so much damage that it was kind of ridiculous, actually. Let me go ahead and back out and show you. So notice how low his reality and mental defenses are. I mean, my Shemaine was getting 3 or 4 shotted, even at level 60 resonance 10 max level psi cube. This is actually kind of an extreme case, but I would advise that when you select your resonance build, or build one for that matter, that the reality and mental defense provided by your build does not dip below 130, certainly not below 120 reality defense and mental defense. Otherwise, your characters will be too squishy. Not to mention, I've noticed that reality defense and mental defense tends to be tied with attack, and typically you want anywhere between 270 to 300 attack if you want to be doing decent damage. And you notice how little HP this resonance build provides. Typically you want at least 1,600 HP. Otherwise your Shemaine not only, well actually it's based off of this resonance, or yeah, let me see here. Yeah, so even though his HP is okay, but the defenses are way too low, typically you want defenses like, well actually Lilya is super squishy, so she's not a good example. Yeah, like Regulus for instance. Typically you want anywhere between 700 to 900 reality and mental defense. Yeah, but 750 defense, it's just not high enough. Typically you want like 800 to 900 defense. I'm trying to, these are not good examples. Yeah, here we go. So this is more like what you want for an Ananli. Actually, typically for attack builds, you will be bulkier and have greater attack. As you can see here, Ananli, this is like very good resonance build. And then Medicine Pocket, around 800. Voyager around 800. Yeah, so actually defenses should be around 800 and attack should be anywhere between 1,800 to 1,900. That would be what I would advise. And so For this reason, I would actually prefer this build right here. This allows him to, if I was to back out for a moment, yes, so you see how big of a difference this build is compared to the crit rate build. By sacrificing, what, like 20 crit rate, you're able to actually tank hits well. Your attack, I think previously we saw like 210 attack, here we have 330 attack, and our HP went from like what, 1,300 to 1,900, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, exactly. So I mean that's huge. Every bit matters there. So that's what I would advise, you know, when selecting the builds. But if you want to build your own, right? You want your own resonance build that's catered to you. What tips would I provide? So actually, let's go over it. So every single character will have a very unique puzzle piece that tends to be the highest level. If I was to scroll down, you notice how everything is level 3 or level 1, and this top one is level 6. So when you get to Resonance 10, you want to prioritize, always use the topmost puzzle piece. There's no reason not to, simply because it boosts every single stat line and offers probably the bulk of what the resonance pieces provide. And then you'll notice these other level 3 pieces here. Now, typically these puzzle pieces come in different flavors. For instance, if you want to go like crit rate, damage bonus, damage taken reduction, you go here. If you want to focus on just crit, you go here. If you want like a mixture of both crit and damage, you got this one. If you want more defenses, like getting critted less as well as reducing damage, you go with this. If you want a balance of like the main attack and reality mental defense stat line, you go with the boxes. And then these here, you know, HP attack, if you want like a mixture of attack and defense, and then here a mixture of attack and defense, and then the smaller pieces, that's where you get more like attack crit rate, and then these are just to fill in the blanks if you have some patches here and there. These tend to be less optimal, so whenever possible, try to Tetris together the pieces like above the level 1 line, okay? So what I typically do is I just like try to start from one corner to the other corner. That way it'll just be more optimal for you. So I'm just going to move this all the way to one corner. And then next I'm thinking, okay, for Shemaine, I'm thinking, you know, he's able to crit well, he's a damage dealer, but I don't want him to be too squishy as a support. Supports tend to be very squishy, probably the squishiest units, and then DPSs also tend to be pretty squishy. So I think here, you know, crit rate, damage bonus, actually typically what I do is I always make sure I fit these boxes in. That's very important, but it's good to fit in some of these because these kind of fill in the blanks as well. So because this is a more elongated piece, so I'm going to try to make this more of a box-like formation at the end here. So let me think here. I kind of want to prioritize damage first, so let's go ahead and do something like this. Let's fill the top here, and let me see. Crit resist. I don't think this is as important for Shemaine, so how do I want to do this? Actually, I'll probably do like that, and then do like an elongated piece to kind of fill in that part there. And then I see an opportunity to fill in that wedge with this. So let's go ahead and do that. So just, you know, some people when they see this, they get really overwhelmed, but it's really simple and it's actually quite fun to do. Okay. And then, yeah, why not get some crit rate, damage bonus, reduce damage a little bit, fill that piece more easily. And then I see an opportunity here. This is where you have to get a little creative. And this can be somewhat time consuming. Actually, I don't think that was a good idea. Let's do like that. And then crit rate, crit resist rate, damage bonus, okay. Okay, actually, I do want to make sure that we have good sustainability, so I'll go ahead and drop these two down. I think for most characters, the boxes are going to be very powerful, just getting all of that. And then we'll go that. And then I think we have an opportunity to... So this is where you have to be a little more creative. Okay, I think we're wrapping things up here. Okay, and I think the rest of the... Oh, okay, actually this is good. And then at this point we have one more slot, so we can just select the one we like most. Usually I go with HP and damage boost here. Alright, so here we have our build. How does it shape up? Let's go ahead and back out for a moment. Yeah, so as you can see here, you know, because I've done this for a while, so I know what I'm trying to achieve. I know that we should probably have our characters survive well while doing good damage and having a decent crit rate. I want to say actually this build might be even better than what Yumedere provided because, you know, I have very clean reality and mental defenses. My attack actually I think is even higher than the first resonance build, and my HP is even higher than the first resonance build. Let me go ahead and compare here. Yeah, so actually with the build that I created, I was able to achieve both of these, you know, minimum 130 for each. I was able to have, you know, about the same attack. My HP was a little higher, and actually my crit rate was even higher, right? If we compare with what I built. Ooh, okay. Actually, all my stat lines are higher, even my crit rate. So probably what I sacrificed a little bit here was maybe damage mitigation or maybe crit damage. I'm trying to see why my build is so much better than the previous. Oh yeah, here. So here they kind of prioritized having a little more damage taken reduction, which I think is good, but not as necessary as these top 3 stat lines here. So that is resonance building for you. Maybe I should actually make my own resonance build and present it to you all, make a spreadsheet for it. But most people are actually going to use the more comprehensive spreadsheet, which is what I presented to you, because they have also resonance 5 through 9s. Hope you enjoyed that. Alright, so now I will show you my favorite resonance builds for every single 6-star and some of the 5-star characters that I have built. The resonance builds that I'm showing you will be resonance 10, which would, in my opinion, be the good stopping point for your characters, just because once you get to resonance 11 and above, the resource consumption is a lot more, and in my opinion it's not worth just boosting a little bit of extra stats. I'd rather you bring more characters to resonance 10. So starting off with 37, this is, the resonance build that I would recommend. So what I love about this build is that you have excellent crit rate. This does make her a little bit squishier, I just realized, so I actually don't really like that. Here we go. Okay, so this is actually the resonance build I would recommend. Although the HP is quite pitiful as well. I guess 37 is naturally squishy. Let me see. Yeah, I guess that's just the nature of it. So this second one would actually be the resonance build I would prefer. Just once again, like I said, having at least 130 reality defense and mental defense, as well as very good attack. She's more of an offensive unit. I think here we are more heavily going towards crit rate, because 31% crit rate is quite high, and having above 300 attack is quite amazing. But the HP is below average. Her HP is probably 200 less. More than 200 less than what I would like, but that's just the nature of 37. She's a little squishier, but she's able to dish out way more damage. Next, let's go over Pickles build. So this is actually quite low as well. I don't know why I'm selecting these. Okay, let's actually build one. I don't really like the Pickles build here. So let's see. I always like to make sure I have these, you know, gotta eat your fruits and vegetables. So I always make sure that I have the reality defense and mental defense stat lines. That's incredibly important for me. Okay, and I'll kind of move pieces around as I need to. Crit rate, crit resist, damage reduction. So maybe we can have a good balance of each of these. Oh, and I really like these pieces as well. So these pieces are a little easier to fit, so I'll go ahead and prioritize the other ones. The rest of these pieces have a blend of defense and attack. It's just a matter of which ones to select. All of these have crit resist rates, so... Oh, actually, I like this one a lot. So let's go ahead and use all these pieces here. Ooh, it's getting a little tight for the fits, so let's do it like that. Beautiful. Trying to make some room here. Crit rate damage. Yep. I really like these pieces here. I think crit resist rate is not that great. This is a little tricky, guys. Oh, okay. Actually, I used all the pieces I wanted there, so let's go ahead and just fill in the blanks. Okay, and then crit damage, damage taken, resist. I think this is a decent piece. Actually, I prefer these more. This is a little more offensive. Okay, let's see how this one turned out. Okay, yeah, I'm more comfortable with this. So your Pickles is much bulkier, has very good attack, high HP, and decent crit rate. Even has decent damage reduction. I think that, yeah, I like this one way more. Okay, moving onwards, I guess we can kind of correct our builds while we're at it. Like I said, I don't, let me see how this one turned out. I don't know why I guess I was going crit build for everything, huh? Okay, I guess we'll have to build this one as well. So I guess you guys are going to see what I would prefer. Pardon me, maybe you guys can see how I make these and maybe learn something from it. I don't know. So you see what I prioritize. Okay. So just make sure you eat your vegetables first. Get all the main stat lines down. Oop. Okay, this one. I think critting is a bit overrated. If you're taking more damage, then I don't think it's worth it. Okay, and the last few pieces are not as optimal. Let's see, crit rate damage bonus does sound pretty good, actually. Okay, and then last bit here, we can either go this one or these two. I typically prefer these two. Okay, so. Okay, ooh, very nice. So we have 130, and then, yeah, but our crit rate will be less. Let me see how much of a difference that made. Yeah, she won't be critting as much, but you're not going to be pairing her up with Tooth Fairy, so I think that is okay. I think having a good stat line is more important. And so this is where some of you guys may disagree with me. Here, I think it's acceptable. In Tooth Fairy's case, I do like going the crit build because being able to purify your allies with her ultimate, I think, is more important. And actually, she's not that squishy because she's a healer. Yeah, she has respectable defenses in the 800s and HP pretty decent as well. So I think that's acceptable right there, what I showed you. So one more time, this is the crit rate build that I go with. I went basically with the Purify build. That is what I would recommend because, you know, you want to maximize her entire kit. Sorry for that. I'm going to do this all in one take. Pardon me if this is going to be a little more of a scuffed video, but yeah, I'm just going to do this all in one take. Next, we have Sotheby. Curious what I have for her. Very decent stat line here, reality, mental defense. Very good. I like this build, so I would go with this one. Okay, I may have built that actually. And then going here. Okay, also very reasonable stat line. Her HP is naturally low. I think in this case I went with the partially a crit build as well, but I think the defenses are pretty respectable and the attack is where I want to be, so I think this is acceptable. Yeah, HP is still not bad, even though HP tends to be lower from what the Resonance build provides. Here we have our Eternity. Ooh, I think I went with the crit rate build. I might actually stick with it just because with this build, Eternity crits quite reliably, and her stat line is actually pretty decent, you know, having about average 800 of reality and mental defense, and she is quite naturally tanky. So when in a situation like that, because the game when you get towards the end will want you to basically, what I'm trying to say is that when I get to endgame, I want to clear as quick as possible but still have decent survivability. And if I was to run my Eternity on raids, I would want a good balance of offense and defense. Because Eternity is has one of the bulkiest innate stat lines in the game, I am willing to sacrifice a bit more health and defenses in order to bring her crit very high. My Eternity crits quite frequently with this build, so I like that a lot. It really helps with her damage, and that's why I think that I don't feel Eternity's damage is as bad as what people make it out to be. I think Resonances, the beauty of them is that you are able to make even the tankiest characters as damage dealing as possible. Okay, moving on to Voyager, this is the build I have for her. I do think that this is quite squishy, although I wonder if there is merit to having her crit rate to be high. I don't think there's a reason to. I don't think she... Oh, I guess maybe the ultimate... Oh, no, if they're in confusion state... Yeah, so I don't think there's any reason to make her that squishy, although her defenses are okay, at least 800. I think maybe that's why. Okay, I digress. So... this is the build I would recommend for Voyager. Okay, moving onwards to Medicine Pocket. Okay, I like this a lot. This is a very standard healer build where you have decent defense. Wow, his attack is actually quite high. In HP, you want it to be at least 600. Actually, I think for a healer, I might even want to have the HP more, but I think I was leaning towards having Medicine Pocket be more of an attack build. I believe this is the attack build of Medicine Pocket. Does actually decent damage, although his damage is actually quite terrible, so I don't know if there's merit to this, but I'll keep it. It's fine. Alright, so moving on to Ann and Lee. This, I'm pretty sure, is the attack build. Yeah, so very good defense stat line. Excellent attack. We reach 400. We do sacrifice a bit of HP, but I do think that's okay considering the bulkiness of Ann and Lee. Very nice. Ann and Lee tends to be one of the squishier supports, so by building her in this way, she's able to absorb more hits. Okay, moving on to our Regulus here. So Regulus, this is where I would, because her kit revolves so much on crit rate, so going the crit rate build is, I think, very good. As a matter of fact, we have very good crit rate, very excellent damage bonus right here, but you notice how much we sacrifice on the defenses and HP. I wonder how necessary it is to make her this squishy. I actually am leaning towards, because her crit rate is so good, and you almost always will pair her up with Tooth Fairy. So if you have Tooth Fairy, I would recommend this other build, which I'm going to create right now. I don't like it that she's that squishy, so I will go ahead and make my own. Okay, just go like that, try to fill in all the crevices there. I really like these pieces. Whenever I can have main stats, I will, because that will keep my characters from dying. Okay, and then we're kind of left with the extra pieces here, so let me think here. These have crit resist rate, which I don't care about. I think this is probably the next best piece, so... And there's actually a trick you can do with this where you go like that. Okay, and then we'll probably fill in the blanks here with these two. I generally gravitate towards those. And then... Ooh, this is going to be a little tricky. Let's not put these yet. I don't know where the gaps will be. Let's go. There's one gap there. Ooh, okay. Okay. I guess the pieces don't line up. I could spend a ton of time on this, but just right off the bat, I'm feeling that... This is Regulus we're talking about here. Ooh, beautiful. Except it creates a problem. This is really tricky. It just occurred to me that these pieces are going to be really valuable for Regulus, so I think what I'll do, let's go ahead and just pile them up first. Okay. Wow, this is really tough, guys. Okay. Oh, here we go. Yeah, this is better. And then go like that. That way we can fit a piece here. Okay. I probably should have this prepared before, but it's alright. I do think... Okay, so and then we... Crit damage. I think in her case this might actually be better. I really should take advantage of this one though. This piece is too good to pass up on. Okay, let's see how this one turned out. Ooh, our crit rate is a lot less. Yeah, I don't know how I feel about that. I guess that is just the nature of... Actually, she doesn't even get that much from that either. 28% versus 12%. I guess that is a really huge difference. Okay, guys. Actually, let's go with this first build. I'm so sorry. Let's go with this one. This is the best build. I tried. Alright, so moving onwards to Lilya. Okay, so this one, Lilya really needs crit rate. It doesn't matter if she's that squishy, because if she doesn't crit, she doesn't get her follow-up attacks off, and if she doesn't do that, then she really is a terrible partner for 37. We want to get her crit rate to basically almost 100%, which you are able to achieve with that build here. Yeah, with Thunderous Applause, and then with her innate crit rate boosts, she's able to achieve 100%. I think at like 103%. And then with Shemaine, we have the build that I designed. Here, you know, decent stat line with decent crit rate as well. Okay, and then moving on to Centurion, I believe this might be the crit rate build, but she has a decent stat line, HP and mental defense a bit low, but I think it's acceptable. I love it when Centurion crits, so that's going to be important. And then with Druvis, I think I went with the crit build here too. I have no idea why I did that. Okay, so let's go ahead and do this, because she's not really meant for critting. Okay, make sure we have this. I'll put this on the other side. Maybe it'll make it easier to build the character. So, crit rate, damage boost. These pieces are very good. We should make sure we have this. Okay, and I like these pieces as well. Fill in the crevices there. Really like this one. Okay. Ooh, I like this piece as well. Or, no, that was the same piece. Sorry, guys. Not many choices left. Oh, no. Crit rate, crit damage reduction. Actually, this piece is very well balanced, so maybe I'll go with this, and then crit rate, crit resist, damage boost, crit defense. At this point, I'm just trying to fill in the gaps. Crit rate, damage bonus, I guess we can accept that. And then... Okay, we'll go with these three pieces here. Alright, so let's see how this one turned out. Okay, we hit some major checkpoints here. I think this looks a lot better. She'll be tankier, able to take more hits. Her attack actually almost reaches 400 with this. We do sacrifice a bit of crit rate. Let me see. Yeah, her crit rate was insanely high, but everything else is good. I mean, this is... 1000 HP, 1100 HP along with defenses that are 100 or less is way too low. That is my opinion, but here we are able to achieve a reasonable stat line. I like this build way better. Okay, we have our Melania, and here I may have gone with the crit. Oh no, I went with the attack build. Okay, so this one looks very solid right here. And then Miss NewBabel, I went with the basically the counter build. So just having her mental defense is on the low side. That's just the nature of her, just FYI. But her attack is about 300, respectable HP and reality defense while being able to crit a decent amount. Miss NewBabel is a bit tanky, so has innate tankiness. So going a little more on the offensive side is something you can do with Miss NewBabel. And she deals decent damage, maybe about 3,000 per hit, and then maybe 1,500 per counter attack. So pretty respectable there. Here we, oh, I didn't build A Knight, but A Knight you can check the spreadsheet that I showed you. Okay, so now with Satsuki, oops. So with her build here, this is actually really low. I don't know why I went with the crit build. This is insane. Okay, so let's go ahead and, oh, this piece. Okay, so this is going to be a little bit of a challenge, but let's see if we can make it happen. Alright. Oh, her pieces are very different. Okay. Or never mind. Let's go with this. Okay. If you are running a character that doesn't care about crit, I highly recommend prioritizing attack, reality defense, mental defense, and HP. This is a little tricky, guys. Darn it. Okay, hold on. Okay, damage. Okay, and then... Okay, this seems pretty good. That should have more respectable stats. Okay, yeah, that looks much better. The first build made me have like a heart attack, and her crit rate isn't that much lower. I mean, the difference between 20% and 35% crit rate that we saw is, or 38, is not worth all that stat loss. That is just insanity. So just watch out what builds that you are auto-pulling from the Yumedere spreadsheet, and I don't think it's worth making your character squishy for the sake of critting more. And unless you have a dedicated critter like Regulus or Lilya, you're not going to reach close to 100% crit rate without Thunderous Applause. So yeah, it's just not worth sacrificing all that. And her mental defense is still on the low side even with all that. So okay, Bkornblume. I think I may have went with the I went with the crit build. Do I like that? Do I like that? I don't think it's worth it. Okay, I might need to redo this one too. Most, actually, I shouldn't say most, but I've read comments saying in the past saying that attack build is much better than the crit build, and I would have to agree 100%. Unless you are hitting certain crit thresholds, otherwise I don't think it's worth taking that much additional damage for the sake of an extra 10%, 15, even 20% crit rate. I just think that's just insanity. And I'm starting to realize that it's kind of like splitting hairs with the last few pieces, so long as I get the primary pieces down, I'm happy. Anything's going to be better than what I showed you. That's how I feel. Ooh, this is going to be a little tricky. Oh, we only have one last of this piece, so that's alright. And the rest are kind of... Oh, this is a good piece. I should probably have two of those, huh? What did I just put down? Sorry, I was doing this so quick. Okay, hold up. I want both of these. Oh my god. Why? Yeah, this is a really good piece. We have to put this. Okay, I think I'm much happier with this. It's a pity I couldn't put these two pieces in, but let's see how that turned out. Ugh. Defense is still on the low side, but still respectable crit rate. I think I'm more comfortable with this than the previous. Let me see what the previous was. Yeah, these skipped a whole ass square piece. That's unacceptable. 90, 104, 1,300. I mean, on the mental... I guess naturally her reality defense is low, but I do like this build a lot more. Seems good. We'll go with this one. I like this one more. Yeah. Alright. Moving onward. So, Charlie. Ooh. Well, I guess we went with the crit build here. I guess you are pairing her up with Tooth Fairy, so there is merit to that. But the defenses are way too low. Let me go ahead and just make my own, see if I can make it better. This is going to be a really long video. I apologize, guys. I should have made all of these beforehand, but maybe you guys can see how I build my resonances. And over time you'll get better and better. I'm getting better actually as I do this video. Okay. I don't think Charlie is known for critting. Maybe you guys can comment in the section below if you disagree. Ooh, I am liking the way everything's lining up here. Beautiful. Ooh, I guess maybe I am getting a little better at this. Okay. Okay, that should help with Charlie's survivability. Okay, yeah, that I feel more comfortable with that. Crit rate, is it that much different from the first build? Let me see. 23 versus... So you're giving up 9% crit rate for much more reality, mental defense, and HP. Let's just double check. Yeah, I feel way more comfortable with the second build, the one I just created. So I would encourage you to make your own creations. I'm just giving you ideas. If you just don't want to rack your brain to make your own, you can copy mine. I would vouch for this. Okay, yeah, that looks way better. Defense is above 700, but not giving up that much attack. HP, crit rate is still above 20%. I think that you'll still crit with her. Okay, moving on to Sweetheart. I think this is a respectable build. Oh, this is a crit build, but what's interesting is that her defenses are actually not terrible. Mental defense is on the low side, but everything else checks out, so I'm going to stick with this Sweetheart build. Sonetto, okay. Yeah, so this is the Sonetto build that I would recommend. This allows her... This is actually, I believe, the attack build. The attack is above 300. Defenses are pretty respectable. She crits a decent amount. Health is not too low. I can, go by this, so... yeah, I like the Sonetto build quite a lot. Balloon Party, please tell me I made sense. Her mental defense is a little on the low side, but that might just be the nature of her kit. She has a ton of damage reduction, so, and actually from my runs, I do like this build quite a lot. I think it's an excellent build, so this is what I would recommend for Balloon Party. Necrologist I don't have built. I think that might be the end of all the ones I have fully built. I don't want to waste your time with the lower resonances, because usually I just auto load the puzzle pieces that are provided by the game. So anyways, I hope you enjoyed that video. I'm sorry that this was a bit rambly, but this actually was a video that was requested by one of my viewers. So hopefully you enjoyed that. If you did, please drop a like, comment, and subscribe down below. If you have a video topic that you want me to touch on, I will make a video on it, and I do read all your comments. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Take care, guys. Bye-bye.